it is time for more Mazda Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires Racing. The pit lane is filling up already. Starting grid is getting set. Zachary Clayman DeMello, how are you?
Good, and you, Tony?
I'm great. We're in Ohio. The weather is beautiful. Are you having fun on this amazing racetrack?
Yeah, it's such a fun track. It's really short, hard to pass. We have a great car, so hopefully I can get another trophy for the team today.
I saw you walking up, doing some flexing, doing some stretching. You all pumped up? You ready to go?
Yeah, just getting in my zone. I'm really excited for the race. I like to jump around sometimes, so I'm full of energy, and hopefully I can get a win today.
All right, he's ready to go. He's going to jump around. We're going to let Zachary Clayman DeMello get at it. Santiago URRUTIA, we talked yesterday. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Well, you better be good. You're just coming off of a victory, your first one of the season. That had to feel just great to get off the checklist.
Yeah, it was a good victory yesterday for the team. They have been working so hard this season. They deserve this win. Today is going to be another big race, so let's hope to do the same. I don't have anything to lose. I'm just going to go for the win, so that's it.
Nothing to lose. He's a real cowboy. You got out to an early lead, and then Colton HERTA really started to apply the pressure outside of 10 to go, but you settled into a great rhythm inside of 10 to go and pulled back away. When you're battling like that, how much information does the team tell you? How much are you able to tell? Did you know Colton was closing in? Do you even know that? Do you even care?
Well, actually, my radio wasn't working yesterday, so I don't have any connection with my team. But, you know, when the radio works, they always tell me, okay, if it's going quicker or slower. But anyway, I was checking on the mirrors every lap, and I see on some corners he was quicker than me, and some of the other corners he was slower. But, I mean, it was a good battle. I know he's a great driver. He did actually a pretty good move yesterday, and today I think it's going to be the same thing. We did some changes on the car, and I hope it goes on the right way, and we have a quick car for the race.
Now, you were involved in a fantastic championship battle last season. You ended up coming out just a little bit short in second place. You're back this year with a new team. You're with Bellardi, new car, new everything. You come from Uruguay. You don't live here in the United States. You're putting it all on the line to have a career in auto racing, and you're doing it through the Mazda Road to Indy. What does this series do for you in your career?
Well, a lot. I mean, Cooper and Mazda are doing an incredible program together here for all the guys, not only in Indy LEIST, but in USF and Pro Mazda. I won Pro Mazda in 2015. That was the reason I raced in Indy LEIST last year, and now I'm racing again in Indy LEIST. So, yeah, I think they're doing an incredible program together that is going better year by year. So you can see on the 500 a lot of drivers coming from the road to Indy. So I think it was a really good problem that is getting better. So the only thing the drivers had to say about Mazda and Cooper Tires and all road to Indy is thank you.
All right, the last question I got for you. I met a young fan today named Hurricane Hunter. He loves your car. He loves your suit because he loves James Hinchcliffe. It's got to be cool driving in a car that looks so much like Hinch's. Hunter, he loves watching you. You got anything to say to these young fans out here today?
I'm just going to say that it's going to be an interesting race, and what's the number 5 that's going to be right at the top.
Santi, thanks a bunch, brother. Good luck, okay?
Thank you very much.
Hurricane Hunter, that one's for you. Let's keep moving here and find a few more drivers. I saw Ryan Norman a little while ago. He's a local. He's from here in Ohio. He's got the Journey colors on the car. I see his machine. Let's go a little bit farther back here and see if we can find Mr. Ryan Norman. I see his crew. I see his team. There's Shelby Blackstock. We talked to him yesterday. If we can't find Ryan, we'll talk to Juan Piedrahita. Where's Norman? There he is, Ryan Norman. You look good. Do you feel good?
Yeah, I feel really good. I'm really comfortable with this track, and I think we have a good race car, so hopefully we'll move up in the race and get a podium.
That car is beautiful. Do you want to sing any Journey right now before we get going?
I'm good, but if I'm on podium, I'll do it.
Okay, if you're on podium, you'll do it. He's a hometown kid. He's racing here in Ohio, and he's got a lot of folks who are supporting him. Look at that car. It is beautiful. There's Juan Piedrahita. We've just got a few more minutes. Let's go talk to Juan. He made his 100th start in the Mazda Road to Indy just a few weeks ago. Juan, you got Dalton Kellett's pit cart coming up behind you. We're going to just dodge that. It's a close shave down here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You ready to go?
Yeah, super ready. We struggled yesterday, but we think we know why, so should be good today.
You think you know why? Super ready? Super ready. What does that mean?
Like Superman, but ready, I guess.
Superman with ready. All right, good luck, brother. Have fun.
Thanks.
All right, at this time, we need all drivers to their cars. Again, at this time, we need all drivers to their cars. Just talk to Juan Piedrahita. We're going to make our way back up the grid now. Ryan Norman, the Ohio driver, getting in to that number 48 machine. Get a good look at that. The Journey Band coming on, sponsoring Norman here for this weekend at Mid-Ohio, as well as the rest of the season. Shelby Blackstock in his number 51, coming off of a great finish yesterday. 4th place. He's putting the helmet on. Shelby, great finish yesterday. Can we put it on the podium today?
I'd hope for a little bit higher, but yeah, I'll hope that's the worst case scenario, yes.
Podium result?
Yes.
All right, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. No, I knew you were going to be here, so that's why I came here.
Shelby Blackstock, 4th place yesterday. He's trying to put it back on the podium here this weekend in Mid-Ohio as we head back up to the front of the grid. The championship is coming to the end of the run, folks. One more round here at Mid-Ohio. They'll go to Gateway in Illinois for one race there, and the championship comes to a close at Watkins Glen on Labor Day weekend. Kyle Kaiser had a rough go at it yesterday, but he still holds the championship point lead. What can he do here today? Remember, on the line, $1 million scholarship to the champion in Indy Lights. They will run a 3-race program, if not more, including the 102nd running of the Indianapolis 500 next year. That's what's on the line for these Indy Lights drivers. We're getting ready to introduce to you the starting lineup. Folks, get ready. It's another exciting round of Indy Lights racing coming up next. It's the top level of the Mazda Road in Indy, presented by Cooper Tires.
Just a quick announcement before Rob Howden takes over for the driver introductions. VIP season race pass holders, don't forget to come and experience the grid walk at 2:45. Meet us at the false grid for entry at 2:45. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
14 drivers set to go here in the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires as Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. We are ready to give you the lineup as we have just about 5 minutes until we fire up these Mazda power plants. Let's have a look at the grid. Drivers getting ready to go here on row number 7. Rookie driver in the series in the Carlin Racing number 11 out of Pennsylvania. Garth Rickards starting in the 14th position to lay alongside him his teammate and one of the drivers in the championship chase. 3 times a winner this year from Brazil in the number 26, MATHEUS LEIST. LEIST and Rickards on row number 7. Moving now to row number 6 on the outside, another one of the Carlin cars out of Los Gatos, California. Multi-time winner in both USF 2000 and Pro Mazda in his 2nd year here in the Indy Lights program. Neil Alberico in that blue number 22 starting in the 12th position. Alongside Neil, a driver who scored the victory in the very first event of the year, the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Aaron Tielitz for Belardi Auto Racing, last year's Pro Mazda champion, running those soul red colors that are reserved for the champions on the scholarships. Tielitz, a couple of great top 5 finishes in Toronto. He'll start 11th today. Moving now into the top 5 rows. Row number 5 on the outside from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Dalton Kellett in the Andretti Autosport number 28. He'll start in the 10th position alongside your current point leader. Issue yesterday with a half shaft problem. They've got that dialed in. The Juncos Racing driver Kyle Kaiser out of Santa Clara, California. Your point leader here with just 3 races to go. 1 here at Mid-Ohio, 1 at Gateway, and we'll wrap up the season at Watkins Glen International with a single event to see who wins the scholarship to go next year to the Verizon IndyCar Series. Kaiser starting in the 9th position. Moving to row number 4 on the outside from Bogota, Colombia, now living in Indianapolis, Indiana for Team Pelfrey. It's the number 2 of Juan Pedrahita. Pedrahita starting in the 8th position. Alongside him on row number 4, it'll be Nico DePero, the impressive young rookie who has got quicker and quicker throughout the year. 1 season in Pro Mazda last year, jumped to Indy Lights with Juncos Racing. He will start in the 7th position in the number 31. Moving now to row number 3 on the outside with that Journey sponsorship from Ohio, Aurora, Ohio to be exact. The rookie Ryan Norman for Andretti Autosport in the number 48. He'll start in the 6th position. Moving to the inside of that row, starting in the 5th spot from Charlotte, North Carolina for Belardi Auto Racing. A great run to 4th yesterday, fast lap of the race, a podium here 2 years ago. It will be Shelby Blackstock in the number 51 Belardi machine starting in the 5th position. Moving now to row number 2, a winner at Road America. The Canadian driver Zachary Clayman DeMello, top qualifying Carlin driver P4 in the number 13. He'll start on the outside of row number 2, alongside a driver who has won here many times before. 5 victories in USF 2000 and Pro Mazda. Podium yesterday to come home in that 3rd position. Nico Jamin in the number 27, the gray car, the Sonova entry for Andretti Autosport starting in the 3rd spot. 14 drivers in the field, 2 have earned spots on the front row. Off pole, winner from yesterday for Belardi Auto Racing, swept the weekend last year here as well. He won in Pro Mazda 2 years ago. He has a great handle on this Mid-Ohio sports car course from Uruguay, the number 5, Santi URRUTIA for Belardi Auto Racing starting in 2nd. But the driver on the pole position today, ready to fire things up and go for another race win. 2nd generation pilot running for Andretti Steinbrenner Racing, a 111.101 in qualifying, earned Colton HERTA, the pole position of the rookie in the number 98 starting P1. It'll be HERTA and URRUTIA on row 1, Jamin and Clayman DeMello row 2, Blackstock and Norman row 3, DePero and Pedrahita row 4, Kaiser and Kellett row 5, Tielitz and Alberico row 6, and LEIST and Rickards on row number 7. Just about a minute away before we get things underway. 1 minute call being shown to the drivers here on pit lane as we get set to cap off the doubleheader weekend here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Again, we have some of our guests from Cooper Tires to help us out here to give us the command to fire up these 450 horsepower Mazda power plants. Ron Ross and Chris Fleck will join me here on pit lane, and we will give them the opportunity to provide the command to kick things off. 14 drivers ready to flick the switch and fire up these engines as we get ready to go racing. The Indy Lights program drivers just one step away. So ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to go here right now, we have, as I said, Ron Ross and Chris Fleck joining me down here on pit lane to give the words that we want to hear, the command to fire things up, and away we go. Ladies and gentlemen, 14 drivers in Indy Lights ready to fire things up.
On behalf of everyone at Cooper Tires.
Drivers, start your Mazda engines.
And with that, 14 engines come to life. Who will win it? Will HERTA do it? Will URRUTIA go back-to-back once again here at Mid-Ohio? John Phippen, back to you in the booth.
Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires, is the last step of the Mazda road to Indy. Competition is more intense than ever as drivers compete not only for the championship, but for a chance to join the Verizon IndyCar Series and race at the Indianapolis 500.
Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the finale of the weekend for the Mazda Road to Indy. All that remains after this race is the feature event of the weekend, the Honda Indy 200. But these drivers one step away from the top step of the podium to make their way into the IndyCar Series. The winner of the season-ending championship gets the scholarship to compete in at least 3 IndyCar races in 2018, including the running of the Indianapolis 500. I'm John Phippen speaking to you from the Goodyear Cooper Press Tower, the Cooper Press Tower overlooking the start-finish line. I get another $1 into the tip bottle as we are getting ready to send off our final top step of the Mazda Road to Indy drivers, the Cooper Tires Indy Lights Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio, powered by Mazda, presented by Cooper Tires. As the cars leave my view here at the finish line, they head under turn number 1, one of the fastest turns on the race course, and into the view of a wide range of real estate right under Rusty Bell.
Thank you, John. The car is already down the back straightaway. They'll get the start there in front of you. I pick them up around turn 1, and they make their way in the uphill stretch into the difficult 180-degree keyhole corner that falls away off camber downhill, then down the 3,000-foot back straightaway to the best passing area as they make their way into the S's.
Down in the S's in front of a huge crowd of fans here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Right at the top of the hill is Brian Culbertson.
Hello, John, and hello, S's. Still some room down here, but it's getting full. All my best friends have come out on a Sunday afternoon to watch Indy Lights here at Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio is home to the most competitive track, and some of the most competitive turns are right here in the S's. 4, 5, and 6. It's a right, it's a left, it's another right. Enters into one of the most best-kept secrets at Mid-Ohio, the entry to Thunder Valley.
Tom Michaels is the man looking over turn number 9, a very tricky turn and a great place to watch the racing, Tom.
Absolutely. A couple of rights in 8 and 9, up over the little ridge and down into Thunder Valley, bending around at turn 10 to the right and to the left on the fastest turn on the course, turn 11, takes you into the carousel, John.
Teams coming by us here in single file behind the pace car. They get 2 pace laps behind the pace car to be sure we get plenty of temperature into these Cooper Racing slicks that every one of these drivers in the Mazda Road to Indy runs on their car. This is a very potent package, as we have introduced this package a couple years ago with the turbocharged 2-liter Mazda MZRR power plant. These cars produce 450 horsepower, and they have a push-to-pass at their disposal, which adds another 50. So 500 horsepower under the right foot of these drivers that they can use to good effect. In fact, the pole position time here, a 1:11 and some change, was just shy of Santi URRUTIA's lap record that he set here last year. So we didn't quite get a new record in qualifying, but Santiago Urrutia has been the man to catch all weekend long. He took the win yesterday, which was his first win of the season, because he just loves this Mid-Ohio track. It suits his driving style, and he has been a dominant force through practice, through qualifying. He has always seemed to have that little extra in reserve to get it done. But Colton HERTA will start on the pole because he actually set the faster lap in round 2 qualifying than did Santi Urrutia. The difference between the two, just about a 1/10 of a second. This tightly packed grid coming around for their second pace lap behind the pace car. And Colton HERTA and Santi Urrutia will bring the field under the starter's green flag right here in front of us. We had a couple of aborted starts yesterday as they were too slow coming to the line. So I'm sure the stewards of the meeting had a nice talking to our front row sitters and said, you know, you've got to maintain appropriate pace. It can't be too fast. It can't be too slow as they come onto the front straightaway to catch the green flag. Here comes the pace car into my view as the field begins to line up in rows of 2, and we're ready to get this final Mazda Road to Indy race of the weekend underway. And this is the top step of the ladder. Cooper Tires, Indy Lights, Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio, presented by Mazda. Santi Urrutia, Colton HERTA coming around the last corner onto the front straightaway. Good pace this time, and an early green, and we're away. Colton HERTA gets a great jump, and he's bringing Nico Jamin with him. Santi Urrutia gets shuffled back to 3rd, Rusty Bell.
Yeah, he's back in 3rd right now in a single file line right behind him. A couple of cars going side by side. Look like Dalton KELLETT got pushed to the outside with Kyle KAISER. They're 3 wide now at the top end of the keyhole. Looks like all the cars so far able to make it through, but down the straightaway, it's Colton HERTA. And then the 27 machine, the Jamin in 2nd. 5 is back about 3 car lengths. Here comes Jamin on the outside, Brian.
Nico Jamin wants the lead, comes up from 3rd, gets 2nd. He's side by side with Colton HERTA, still side by side. Nico Jamin to the lead. Colton HERTA fights back. They make their way through the S's. Tom Michaels coming at you from 3rd spot. Nico Jamin, and we've got 2 cars coming together. New leader.
New leader, Nico Jamin, right behind Colton HERTA, then Urrutia, then Shelby Blackstock. We're on the first of 38 laps. Yesterday only ran 30. Today we're running 8 more.
Indeed, and we see them come into our view. You can see these cars scrabbling for traction on the cold tires as they're trying to get some heat into the tires. The rear end trying to step out as these drivers put those 450 Mazda horsepower to good use. The battle's at the front. Jamin and HERTA right together, and then Urrutia only about half a second behind.
Yeah, then the 51 machine of Shelby Blackstock right behind that. So he is trying to close in on Urrutia. So there's 2 battles of 2 right now as they make their way onto the straightaway. Jamin at the front, then Colton HERTA with a little bit of a gap, then back to the number 5 car as the 51 of Blackstock, and then a big gap back to our 31 machine. But a battle again at the front, Brian.
Colton HERTA gets the pass done around the high side of turn number 4. Oh, the back end steps out on HERTA's car. The back end steps out. He is able to get it back under control. HERTA stays in the lead. Urrutia able to close up just a little bit. Your top 3 walking away. There's Shelby Blackstock in 4th.
Here it comes. Leader, Colton HERTA, followed by Nico Jamin, Santi Urrutia. Everybody making it through turn 9 cleanly. Up they go through Thunder Valley into the left-hander turn 11. Colton HERTA with the lead.
Brian, you mentioned on the opening lap that there was some contact there in the S's. I'm guessing it was Dalton KELLETT and GARTH RICKARDS because both of them have come into the pits. KELLETT with a new nose, he got back out just ahead of the leaders, so he'll have to pedal hard to stay on the lead lap. RICKARDS, I believe, is still in the pit lane.
Yeah, our front 4 really have stretched it out now. Quite a bit of a gap between Colton HERTA and Jamin, and then an even bigger gap back to the 5 of Urrutia, then a nice big gap back to Blackstock. So the front 4 all spread out after both those cars were almost side by side at the top end of the straight. The battle behind, though, pretty hot and heavy. The 31 and the 13 going after it, claiming DeMello, and that 31 of DePero.
Yeah, they're side by side still as they make their way down into the S's. Colton HERTA with about a 1-car advantage. That great battle. The 13 car in the back end steps out on his car. Claiming DeMello has some issues at the top of 5. He's able to keep the car underneath of him, though.
Getting some distance on second. Whoa, we got a spin by our leader. He's down at the bottom of the Thunder Valley to the inside of the track. Everybody so far getting around him, and they do. We got the yellow flag out here. Colton HERTA sitting across the track. Now he does the Jim Rockford turn, has the car righted as far as the right direction, gets the engine fired again, and is back underway.
Getting a replay of it on the big screen, Tom, and that was just absolutely self-inflicted, carrying too much speed into that very tricky turn 9. He spun on his own, right?
Absolutely. He had a decent lead there on the second place Jameen. Jameen nowhere near him, and just coming down off of that part of the track where you get a little bit light coming up over the hill down in the Thunder Valley, and everybody did a good job getting to the outside and not making contact with a car that had about 2/3 of the track blocked.
Colton HERTA, a two-time winner on the season, unfortunately going to have to pedal hard from the back of the pack. Any chance for a podium spot pretty much gone with that spin. Nico Jameen, your leader, also won twice earlier in the season at Barber Motorsports Park and at the Grand Prix of Indianapolis in the first of 2 rounds there.
Watching for the leaders now, new leader, Nico Jameen. Jameen back in, steps out a little bit on him as he goes through turn number 9. URRUTIA, finally 4 car lengths back, then a good gap back to Blackstone right in there in 3rd.
Watching the Frenchman Nico Jameen come by in the lead. Makes his home in Rouen, France, although he lives in Indianapolis during the racing season, driving for Andretti Autosport. And this is the first time we've seen Nico Jameen at the front of one of these races here at Mid-Ohio this weekend. Santi URRUTIA has been the man at the front. We'll see if URRUTIA has anything for the Flying Frenchman to see if he can retake that lead position. But right at the moment, he seems content in second spot, about a 2nd and 3/10 behind our leader. Blackstock, Clayman DeMello, Nicholas DePero with a great start, Juan Pedrejita, Kyle Kaiser, Aaron Tielitz in the Soul Red number 9 as the graduate from the Pro Mazda Championship. Ryan Norman, local driver from up near Cleveland, and MATHEUS LEIST, the rookie sensation from Brazil, up into the top 10.
Nico Jameen makes his way down into the S's. Top 5 spots pretty much equally spaced. Santi URRUTIA in second spot. Then the 51 of Shelby Blackstock comes through, and the 13 of Clayman DeMello. Rest of the field pretty much nose to tail as they make their way out of the S's.
Yeah, you get that top 5, they are all spaced out. Then you got that battle starting with the 2 car of Pedrejita, Kaiser, Tielitz. They battle there right now for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Leaders in the carousel turn on their way through and across the stripe to complete race lap number 5 of the scheduled 38. Shelby Blackstock's car tries to step out as he gets on the throttle, coming onto the front straightaway. Very similar to what happened to Spencer Pigot during the warm-up this morning, but Blackstock able to keep it under him. As Clayman DeMello, the top 5 cars separated by a second or more for each of the positions. The closest battle on the race course is between Kaiser and Tielitz for 7th, as Aaron Tielitz in the Soul Red number 9 trying to get around Kyle Kaiser, who is still the points leader coming into this round, despite the fact that he didn't have a great finish yesterday.
Yeah, we're watching that battle. The other battle I've been keeping an eye on is that 18 of Kaiser trying to get around Juan Pedrejita, who's right up in front. In fact, looked like a challenge here at the top end of the straight.
He looked to the inside, but not able to get that done. He was trying there, almost had it, Rusty.
Leaders, Baez now, Jameen, URRUTIA, Blackstock, and then that 13 car, Clayman DeMello. Clayman DeMello is starting to pull in Shelby Blackstock for 3rd.
Nicholas DePero, as we mentioned, having a great run, qualified the car in the inside of row number 4. He finished last in the race yesterday, had to get out early because of an issue, and so Nicholas DePero having a great run in the top 5 aboard that number 31 machine for Juncos Racing out of Buenos Aires, Argentina, although living in Hollywood, Florida during the racing season. URRUTIA and Jameen actually getting a little further apart as Jameen stretching his advantage over Santi URRUTIA. Shelby Blackstock a further 2.5 seconds back as Clayman DeMello turns up the wick. He is faster than Blackstock on that last lap, closing it down to about a 1/2 second.
Yeah, that's more than 1/2 second. It's about 3 car lengths right now, and he's closing up even more, Brian.
Yeah, he does. He closes it up there at the end of the straightaway. Rest of the field making their way through the S's. Shelby Blackstock with his mirrors full.
Leader off of 7, 8, now 9. He's got the distance between 8 and 9 between he and URRUTIA. Then that close battle for third right now, 3 car lengths separating Shelby Blackstock and Clayman DeMello.
Nico Jamin continues to lead comfortably in front. As there's the 28 of Dalton Kellett, who had that contact with Garth Rickards on the early lap. Rickards, by the way, did have to retire. Apparently too much damage to the suspension of that car for him to be able to continue. Kellett at the tail end of the lead lap, so he'll have to pedal hard to keep these drivers from overrunning him. URRUTIA goes a little bit quicker on that lap, closes it down to 1.6 seconds. The Blackstock Clayman DeMello battle also getting a little closer as Zachary Clayman DeMello a little bit faster on that last lap. DePero, Pietrahita, Kaiser, and Tielitz all run together as they duke it out for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah, that battle with Blackstock's broken off just a little bit. That last lap, they were just a couple of car lengths. Now it was about 4 this time by.
Yeah, down into the S's, Shelby Blackstock able to get a little bit of a cushion there. Like you said, Rusty, it's about 4 car lengths. The rest of the field the same way. Everybody kind of settling into the race pace here. We got a long ways to go.
Yeah, the leader's going to be getting into a car that had problems earlier in not too long. Blackstock really is now losing contact with that front 2, but he is giving himself a little bit of a cushion over 4.
We'll watch the progress of our leaders as they come across. They are running down Dalton Kellett, so he will be the first car to go a lap down as we check the interval between URRUTIA and Jamin. Jamin answering the challenge from yesterday's winner, Santi URRUTIA, as he increases the lead now to 1.8 seconds. So Jamin controlling the pace in the early going here. We're working race lap number 9, so not even a third of the way through this 38-lap race. Pietrahita, Kaiser, Tielitz, and Norman continuing to battle. Ryan Norman up to 9th after a good qualifying performance to stay inside the top 10. MATHEUS LEIST in 10th. Neil Alberico falling away from LEIST just a bit as he's unable to match the pace of the Brazilian rookie.
Again, that battle with Blackstock starts to tighten up here. Clayman DeMello gets it down to about a car length as he makes his way through 5 down into turn number 6. So Clayman DeMello able to keep the pressure on Shelby Blackstock.
First 2 get by lap traffic, and now we move back to that 3rd place situation. A couple of car lengths separating Blackstock and DeMello, and they have a good distance between them and the 5th place car. DePero does not appear to be able to pull them in at all.
Dalton Kellett doing a good job of pulling aside and letting these leaders get through, realizing that he's a lap down, so he doesn't fight them and allows the leaders to pass through without too much problem. Clayman DeMello losing a little bit of ground. In fact, he needs to keep his eyes on his mirrors because it looks like DePero in the 31 car might be closing up. Juan Pietrahita about a second behind him. Kyle Kaiser closing up on Pietrahita in the number 2, the brilliant yellow Team Pelfrey machine. Aaron Tielitz another half second back. So Pietrahita, Kaiser, and Tielitz separated by just about a second between the 3 of them.
Yeah, those 3 cars about the closest battle we've got on the track right now as we watch that. Tielitz definitely moving up now, trying to get up next to Kaiser. He's only ends up being about a car length behind at the top end.
Kellett doing just a great job staying out of everybody's way. He is actually driving offline and getting out of the way. Hats off to him. Not everybody willing to sacrifice their track time to do that. Oh, great job for Kellett.
Shelby Blackstock still with his mirrors full of Clayman DeMello as they come on to the front straightaway. Checking the interval between Jamin and URRUTIA, as URRUTIA is slightly quicker, but it's about a 2-second advantage on that last lap. Clayman DeMello matching the pace of Shelby Blackstock, so not much of a change there. Nicholas DePero with Juan Pietrahita and Kyle Kaiser. Aaron Tielitz is the closest of that battle as he continues to reel in Kaiser, but only by maybe half a tenth on that last lap. So the field kind of settling in here as we're about a third of the way through this race, working race lap 11 right now of the scheduled 38. Yesterday's race was a 30-lapper, so we've got some extra time on the track for these drivers.
Clayman DeMello about a car length behind Blackstock this time.
You're right, Rusty. He has closed that right back down. He has gotten that close before, not able to put a move on, but he closes right up underneath the rear wing. As they leave out of my view, it's about a car length and a half.
Yeah, that battle rejoined there for 3rd. Still a car length and a half through turn number 9. They plant their cars right there in the middle of the racetrack, well off the racing apex as you come through that turn 10 and smoothly up into 11.
You can see the car is much more stable now that they've got these Cooper Racing slicks up to full temperature, as these drivers are able to make the moves and make the turns without the rear end trying to step out on them. So the car's a bit more stable. Aaron Telitz continues to try to hunt down Kyle Kaiser, but the points leader is able to hold him off. As we check their lap times, that time Telitz losing just a little bit of ground to the tune of about 1/10 of a second. URRUTIA with, as they run, 254 points. Sneku Jamin with 243. Clayman DeMello tied with Jamin at 243. But Kyle Kaiser, as he runs, with 302 points, out in front of the rest of the field by 40 and some change, with only 2 races left after this one.
Oh, great battle now. Side by side between the short shoe 4 and 5, but the 31 car, DePero, able to stay out front of Juan Pedrejita, but it's tight, Tom. They're coming in front of you now. Pedrejita trying to get around.
Yeah, so now we got a real battle going on here. Pedrejita, probably 3 car lengths, maybe less than that, behind DePero, and Kaiser right there as well.
Blackstock, Clayman DeMello come by. The separation about 3/4 of a second. And then this great battle behind Nicholas DePero is Pedrejita with Kaiser right behind him. And then Aaron Telitz. The corner marshals are having a good look at Aaron Telitz's car. They see that something dragging from the back of the car. It might be the running light wiring that is dragging. I don't know if it will create a hazard, but they're keeping a close eye on the back of the 9 car of Aaron Telitz.
We'll keep an eye on it now as all 4 of those cars on the straightaway. Very close together, as close as they've been now one more time as they're working their way down. There goes the 31, DePero driving real defensively at the top end, Brian.
Real defensive, now they're side by side again in the short chute. The 2 car and the 18 car come together here in 5. Hard ride for the number 2 car. Pedrejita, he is off to the outside of the track here. The 13 car had rolled, or the 18 car had rolled out into the track. Kyle Kaiser also stopped here. Both cars are still running. Pedrejita able to continue. Oh, now the 18 car is high centered. Kyle Kaiser is high centered here in station number 5.
Don't know if we'll get a full course yellow, but that's just what Santi URRUTIA would love to see. Has Kaiser been able to continue, Brian?
Oh, I tell you what, the safety crew, the Homalcha safety crew jumps out there, puts the jack underneath Kaiser's car and just flips it around, and he is on his way. We are green in the S's just as Jamin comes down through here, and URRUTIA starting to close it up, guys. Pay attention. URRUTIA has taken away about a half second.
As they come through turn 9, we can see that narrowing of the gap between first and second. Thought we had seen it the lap before. Indeed, we had. Back to 3rd place. Right now, Blackstock comfortably in that position. He's got about 5 car lengths on 4th place, Clayman DeMello.
The points leader, Kyle Kaiser, who had such a dominant weekend in Toronto, is going to wish that Mid-Ohio was a weekend that he'll soon be able to forget, as he has had not good luck here this weekend. He finished in 12th place yesterday, and he is running in 12th place again today. So he's going to see that big points lead that he built up begin to erode away. As they run right now, he's got 297 points. Santi URRUTIA, on the strength of his 2nd place run right now, gets up into 254 points. So that lead is still substantial with only 2 races remaining. But Santi URRUTIA making up ground on Kyle Kaiser, who's had a really not too good weekend.
Yeah, he may end up going a lap down here before this one's over. He's not too far in front of our leader right now. I think we just had DePero go wide at turn 1. In fact, there's Telitz all by himself. There's the 31. So yes, it was the 31 of DePero that went wide at turn 1 and lost the spot to Telitz.
And Kaiser caused that all himself. He just got into the back end of Pedrejita to cause that accident. So, you know, you can't blame anybody but Kaiser on that one.
So with Colton Herta with a problem, he's up in 10th position right now, lapping a little bit quicker than Neil Alberico. So he's got about 3 seconds to pick up. Herta going to try to salvage as many points as he can, running with 251 points right now as it stands, but he is in danger of losing second in the championship to Santi Urrutia if they finish the way they are now. Urrutia then falls back now over 2 seconds behind Nico Jamin, just unable to make much of a dent in Nico Jamin's lead. It kind of fluctuates between 1.8 to 2 on the past several laps, and right now Jamin in command, seemingly controlling the pace of this race. Aaron Tielet's up to 5th, but he's well back of Clayman DeMello, almost 6.5 seconds.
Leaders into the S's once again. Nico Jamin has this in hand, but Santi Urrutia able to close up just a little bit. No difference that lap. Third place, Shelby Blackstock doing a great job.
Yeah, it looked to me like chopped just a little bit off the lead that time, did Urrutia. A little bit of a twitch now for the third place car, Shelby Blackstock, as he came into turn number 9, keeps the car underneath him, but it looks like he stretched out his advantage over fourth place.
Yeah, Blackstock seems to be a little more comfortable in that third spot, as Clayman DeMello had closed right up within a half a second or so, but now that interval's about a second as the red 51 of Shelby Blackstock comes across. Here comes Clayman DeMello. Yeah, in fact, he's dropped back even a little further. 1.3 is now the interval. Aaron Tielet's is the car on the move, as his lap time not quite as quick as Clayman DeMello, but Tielet's up into that 5th spot. Nicholas DePero back in 6th. Ryan Norman, the driver from up in Aurora, Ohio, up near Cleveland, making up some ground as he is in the 7th position right now. MATHEUS LEIST has worked his way around Neil Alberico, so LEIST in the 26 car up into 8th spot now as Alberico falls behind him. But LEIST's last lap, a 14.1, Alberico at a 13.8, so Alberico not going away quietly. That position could swap one more time.
Watching Norman definitely closing in on DePero. After DePero went off, may have knocked the handling off just a little bit and may have some grass in the radiators as he got wide there at turn 1 a couple of laps ago, but that's allowing Norman to close right in on him.
Urrutia looks like he's started to close back in again on Jamin.
Yeah, as they come across the stripe, we'll catch the interval. It was 1.8 seconds a lap ago, stays about the same. Their lap times almost identical. Urrutia was marginally quicker, but less than 1/10 of a second faster on that last lap. So Jamin, once again, controlling the pace. Blackstock distant third, about 5 seconds off the pace. Clayman DeMello not able to challenge Blackstock, at least at this stage. But remember, we're not even to half distance yet. This race is 8 laps longer than the race yesterday. So as we get into the closing stages of this race, we're going to see the effects not only of fatigue on the drivers, but fatigue on these Cooper tires. And perhaps we'll see some leads begin to evaporate as some drivers who take better care of their tires might be in a better position. Tielet's in 5th, DePero in 6th, Ryan Norman in 7th, MATHEUS LEIST running in the 8th spot, Neil Alberico about a second behind him in 9th. Colton Herta, recovering from that spin, is closing down quickly on Neil Alberico. So Herta, currently 10th, going to try to get up into the 9th spot here. It looks like he'll be able to catch him in another couple laps.
Yeah, MATHEUS LEIST went wide at turn 1, lost that spot as Alberico gets by, and it looked like he was being closed up by the car behind that. That may have been Colton Herta trying to get back around, but he went wide into the grass as well at turn 1. That's giving these guys a little bit of trouble in today's race.
And Herta's right there to make the pass. That may happen on the front straightaway.
Yeah, Herta right on the back of that car as they come up into the carousel turn. There's Ryan Norman in the 7th spot, then the 22 of Alberico, then the 26 of LEIST with Herta right there. So LEIST only lost 1 spot to Alberico, but Herta trying to move his way around him. We'll see if LEIST can get back up to speed and keep Ryan Herta behind him. But Colton Herta, second in the points and in danger of losing that position to Santi Urrutia here at the conclusion of this race.
Herta makes a bold move there and takes that spot away, so he gets around MATHEUS LEIST there at the top end of the keyhole. Moves right around, he's already pulled about 3 car lengths, so next up for him will be Neil Alberico.
And Urrutia gets closer again, this time through the S's. He might be losing it someplace else, but Urrutia making a much better time through the S's than our leader, Nico Jamin.
wherever Jameen is in control here as he opens the lead up to just over 2 seconds again. So every time URRUTIA begins to chip away at that lead, Jameen is able to answer and click off a quick lap. His last lap, a 13.1. URRUTIA was a 13.3, so just over 2 seconds the interval. And checking, we really don't have any positions in close contention now, as everyone driving away just a little bit, as the closest battle is the one between Blackstock and Clayman DeMello, and that's just over a second, as we are now at half distance as we're working race lap 20 and into the second half of this race. So lots of racing left to go as these drivers settling in, trying to save some tires, save some car for the last lap challenge to see if URRUTIA can catch Jameen, and on back. There's lots of positions that could still be in contention. Juan Pedrejita back in 11th position. He's some 15 seconds behind MATHEUS LEIST after that spin. This time, Zachary Clayman DeMello able to pick up a little time, and he gets the interval to Shelby Blackstock in the battle for the final step on the podium, just a little bit closer, down under a second now. Aaron Thielitz a little quicker than Nicholas DePero. Thielitz not quite as quick as Clayman DeMello, however, so he's not closing that gap. Ryan Norman having a good run as he's got the interval to DePero down to 1.2 seconds, so our Ohio-based driver might have a shot at the top 6 here.
Jameen really starting to close in on KAISER. That will put KAISER a lap down here, so that may shake things up in the top 2.
Colton HERTA definitely moving forward too, turning a little bit quicker laps than Neil Alberico, as he is going to try to close up and maybe make up one more spot, get himself up into an 8th spot.
If HERTA can move up another spot or 2, he will hang on to second in the points to Kyle KAISER at the conclusion of this race. As he stands right now, he's 2 points behind Santi URRUTIA in that battle for second, moving into the final 2 rounds of the championship. Clayman DeMello draws ever so slightly closer to Shelby Blackstock. That interval down to just under 0.7 of a second. Ryan Norman continues to lap quicker than Neil DePero in the 31 car. So Nicholas DePero, I should say, under challenge now from Ryan Norman. It's right at a second, and Norman is about 0.2 of a lap quicker.
Leader coming through turn number 9. He's got that slower traffic ahead of him. Looked as though the 5 was able to pull up a little bit last couple of laps, but it looks to me like Santi URRUTIA has dropped back just a little bit. And we're waiting to see whether Clayman DeMello is able to rejoin the battle for 3rd place against Shelby Blackstock.
Nico Jameen looking for his 3rd win on the season as he would join Kyle KAISER and MATHEUS LEIST with 3 wins. But he hasn't won since the Grand Prix of Indianapolis in early May. And if he's able to take this win, it looks like he's on his way to that, at least at this point, as he has opened up his largest lead to date over Santi URRUTIA. It's up to 2.6 seconds. Clayman DeMello continues to chip away at the lead of Shelby Blackstock, but it's down to about 0.8 of a second. Ryan Norman now less than a second behind Nicholas DePero in the battle for 6th, so that's getting just a little bit closer as well. Colton HERTA about 1.5 seconds behind Neil Alberico, and on that last lap he was about 0.2 quicker, so he's got some ground to make up, but he's going to have to begin to get with the program as we work race lap 23 of the scheduled 38.
It should be just another lap or so, and we're going to see the lapping situation here. And the guy that Jameen is coming up the lap is Kyle KAISER.
Yeah, the series points leader coming into this round here at Mid-Ohio. He will leave with the points lead as well, but that points lead is going to be a little bit smaller than it was before this weekend began. KAISER having a dominant weekend at Toronto. If you watched any of those races on the NBC Sports Network, he was way out in front. double-digit second wins in both rounds at Toronto, but not the case here at Mid-Ohio. Kyle Kaiser just has not been on the pace this weekend. Ryan Norman continues to close on Nicholas DePero. It's down under 0.7 of a second now. So the battle for 6th is the one that's heating up the quickest. Ryan Norman having a great run here this weekend in the Journey-sponsored machine out of Aurora, Ohio, up near Cleveland.
Jameen gets around Kaiser to put him a lap down, so that went off without a hitch there as Jameen was able to get by without slowing up any. Now we're catching this sort of a 2-2 car battle coming in front of us. Norman definitely closing in about 4 car lengths. And then we're watching Colton Herta now closing down on Albarico. It's right behind that.
Yep, Colton Herta is getting those car lengths back. A couple of car lengths every single lap, but he's got a ways to go. And this may be a 4-way battle here, the way things are shaping up. Tom, they're in front of you now, but Colton Herta at the tail end of a 4-way battle with DePero at the lead.
Absolutely. DePero, Norman, Albarico, Colton Herta. Herta trying to move up as much as he can because of the point situation here after that problem on the first lap down at the bottom of Thunder Valley.
Yeah, a good learning experience for Colton Herta to try to work his way through some of the adversity. Again, a self-imposed penalty with a solo spin there in turn number 9 in the early stages of this race has cost him an opportunity to score some valuable points, as the points championship still not mathematically out of his reach, but this is a good learning experience for him to recover as many points as you can. You know you can't win, but you might as well see if you can pick off as many slower cars as possible, as Nicholas DePero now has got a pretty good 3-car battle behind him, as Norman, Albarico, and Herta are all close together in that 4-way battle for 6th spot. Herta could really make up some ground if he can pick up 3 or 4 of those cars.
Yeah, Herta right now really late on the brakes, able to close in just a little bit, but this 4-way battle equally spaced as they go out of my view.
Yeah, no challenge this time. DePero, Norman, Albarico, Colton Herta. Then it's a good ways back to LEIST.
Those 4 just about equally spaced as they come through the carousel turn. Nicholas DePero aboard the number 31 Juncos Racing machine. Then the 48 of Ryan Norman, running for Andretti Autosports. Right behind him, Neil Albarico in the 22 car out of San Clemente, California, is one of the Carlin racers. And Colton Herta, of course, the 98, also for Andretti Steinbrenner Racing, makes his home in Valencia, California. That 4-way battle, the best one on the track, as DePero able to hold him off at the moment.
Down the straightaway, we've been watching that battle. Herta not quite able to get up alongside yet. You see Albarico now peeking to the inside of Norman. So all 4 of those cars are close enough that any little bobble will mean a change in position.
Yeah, Albarico looks the best through the S's on this lap. He's able to get it down to about 3 car lengths as they go out of my view.
DePero, Norman, Albarico, and Herta come by in formation. And behind them is MATHEUS LEIST. As we check the lap times, all running virtually identical lap times within 1/10 of a second. At the front, once again, SANTI URRUTIA able to eke away at that interval to the leader, Nico Jameen, as it now under 2 seconds again. So the ebb and flow of that lead gap continues to be tantalizing here as we're working the 27th racing lap. So about 12 laps remaining in this. And again, it's all a matter of who's got a car under them in the closing stages. They're close enough that if Jameen has run the tires off his car by being a little overly aggressive from the lead, URRUTIA will be right there to pounce. Those 2 leaders coming by the start-finish line right now. And the interval's a little closer yet. 1.7 is now the interval between Jameen and URRUTIA. Not really close enough to worry about a challenge at this point, but again, can Nico Jameen continue to extend that lead it looks like Nicholas DePero is drawn away from Ryan Norman just a little bit as Alberico and Herta getting a little closer to the Ohio driver. That battle working its way through turn 1 and heading up toward the keyhole turn right now.
Watching that now, actually it looks like they're all evenly spaced. Herta maybe a little car length closer to Alberico. He's able to close it down to about 2 car lengths now in the middle of the keyhole. Really, nobody seems to be able to make any moves there. We've talked many times about how that front wing on these cars really makes it difficult for the car behind. The front end just washes away as it's got no downforce on the wing. And it really shows in these Indy Lights. We've seen that all weekend long, and they've gotten close together, but I don't see anybody making a move. They're all staying at about that 3 to 4 car length gap.
And of course, what that indicates is that if they try to follow too closely, they can probably draw right up and do it. But then, as you said, Rusty, that aero wash will mean that the front end of the car won't be stuck to the ground as well. The front tires will be sliding more, and that will wear them out faster. So these drivers find that sort of sweet spot where they can run close enough to stay in contact with the cars around them, but not so much that they're losing downforce on that front wing so that they've got tires under them. Then, as we get into the closing laps, they might be able to mount a bit of a challenge if they've got some tire under them and take a few more risks as we get closer to the end. Colton Herta is the closest of this 4-way battle as he is right on the back now of Neil Alberico, trying to pick up yet one more spot.
Yeah, in the entry to the keyhole, he gets within a car length of that, but then we'll watch now as they work themselves down the straightaway. He's a little closer than he's been. He's peeking to the inside, Brian, but he's not close enough.
No, 2 car lengths back, too far back to try to make a move, but that whole group of 4 cars is tightened up over the last lap here. Colton Herta trying to make a move to get some more points here. He gets it down to about 2 car lengths, and the lead battle gets tighter again.
Yeah, we watch as Colton Herta right now 3 car lengths off the rear deck of that Neil Alberico number 22. He wants to pick up more points, but he also doesn't want to do anything that's going to take him out and result in less points.
Yeah, what he doesn't need right now is another ill-advised passing maneuver that could spin him out of contention, because he's in a position now to maybe pick up some valuable points. And while we've been talking, Santi URRUTIA has been chipping away at the lead. It's down to 1.3 seconds.
Oh, put the stopwatch down. It's 3 car lengths as they make their way through turn number 5. Jameen gets a good run out of 5, but URRUTIA stays right with him. Tom Michaels, it's about 6 car lengths now as comes out of my view.
Yeah, he really picked it up on that lap, did URRUTIA, off of turn 9. They hit down through Thunder Valley. Keep it well off the apex in 10, and up there into the left-hander at 11.
Herta makes a move. He finally gets around Alberico. Alberico stays in contact there, but Herta picks up one more spot after that early spin.
We'll see if he's able to pick up any more. He's got a little bit of distance to try and get it down to Ryan Norman. But he has indeed picked up that position, so you've got Colton Herta up in the 9th.
That battle for the lead looked like he was about 4/10 faster. URRUTIA closing down. We'll watch it this time down the straightaway, but Jameen not able to keep pace right now with URRUTIA right behind. A couple of car lengths, Brian. It's going to be 1 by the time they get to the top end.
Oh man, URRUTIA just great on the brakes, gets it down to a car length. They come up into turn number 5. Jameen, the back end steps out a little bit. Jameen there able to just hang on to the car. Now URRUTIA has problems. The front end washes out on his car in turn number 6.
Yeah, we watched. He gets a little bit tail happy over here in turn number 9. Has on a number of laps. Right now losing a little bit of distance now on first place.
Herta picks up another spot on the end of the back straightaway, gets around Norman. So Herta 2 laps, 2 spots up. Now he's got the 31 car of DePero.
Well, he knows where he can do it on this racetrack at the end of that long straightaway. Colton Herta, who had trouble on the first lap, now has to get up there in contact with the 31 car of Nicholas DePero.
Colton Herta and Santi URRUTIA apparently getting the news that they've got 10 laps or less to go, and they decided to pull the pin. So Urrutia got the job done, got right up on the back of Nico Jamin, and Jamin answers the challenge as he goes into the 12s. Urrutia's last lap, not this one just completed, but the lap before was under 1:13 for the first time. Jamin answers and gets the interval back up to about a second as they leave our view, but Urrutia getting ready to pounce to see if he can make it a back-to-back win here at Mid-Ohio.
Jamin answers that call, you guys. I know that last lap was just a tick faster. He looks way better in the S's this time. It's about 6 car lengths as they go out of my view.
And that's the way it stays as they move through 9. No change there among the leaders. Very smoothly up into 11. And a big distance back to Shelby Blackstock, who no longer has any kind of contact with the car that was chasing him for so long, Clayman DeMello. Right now, Clayman DeMello back there in 4th place, but well off 3rd.
Leaders just now starting race lap number 31. The interval's back down under a second, 8/10 for Urrutia to Jamin. So Urrutia beginning to pull the pin, I guess, and pile the pressure on to Nico Jamin. As Colton HERTA up into 7th spot. He is now only 1 point behind Santi Urrutia in the battle for 2nd in the championship. So HERTA doing himself some good here, and he's not that far behind Nicholas DePero. He can pick up more points and retain that 2nd place spot if things continue the way they are.
Battle for the lead at the end of the back straightaway. It's a car length. Jamin with the advantage. The back end slides out on Jamin through 5. Urrutia about 2 car lengths now into turn number 6. Jamin is really good at the exit of 6. Urrutia loses about 2 car lengths.
And accordion's out now to 3 car lengths, maybe out to 4 as they came through 9.
Colton HERTA gets one more, and he does. He gets that pass done. Colton HERTA gets around DePero. He moves back into 2nd in the points. Colton HERTA on a charge, and he's starting to drive away from DePero.
Urrutia pedaling hard to try to catch up with our leader, Nico Jamin. Has it well under a second, about 78/100ths of a second at the line. Clayman DeMello not really challenging Shelby Blackstock as those two come by. Aaron Thielitz in the 5th spot, but our new 6th place runner, Colton HERTA, is well back of DePero, so with only a handful of laps remaining, doubtful that HERTA can get any further up, but he's doing what he needs to do in damage control to maintain the opportunity to. He's now tied with Urrutia for 2nd in the points, as they both have 255 points. Whoever gets the fast lap of the race could get the bonus point and break that tie. But Santi Urrutia seems to get up right up on the back of Jamin and then just can't close the deal. Perhaps he's just trying to shake Jamin's confidence just a little bit so he can mount a charge here, as we've got just a handful of laps to go, working race lap 34.
I believe Urrutia's got that fast lap, so he's got that 1 point for doing that.
Onto the front straightaway comes the lead battle. It was 78/100ths of a second a lap ago. What is it this time? 67. Urrutia slightly quicker. Both of them lapping in the low 113s. They're capable of lapping in the 12s. So Urrutia continues to keep the pressure on as the battle for the lead has drawn closer and closer.
It's about 3 car lengths now in the keyhole. We know that Urrutia can close right up under braking here at the top end of the straight. We'll see if he can catch a draft. He's close enough to be in the draft right now as they come by. We'll see right now. Jamin driving defensively, Brian. There goes Urrutia on the outside.
Oh man, side by side down in here. Urrutia tried to go the high side, couldn't get it done. Jamin able to hold in there. I don't know which one of them, but one of them locked the brakes up. You could see the tire smoke. Urrutia is the one that locked the brakes up. Jamin gets out about 4 car lengths in front of him, but it was side by side.
And a little bit of lost momentum there for the number 5 car. Rudy's going to have to build it back up and try it again. And we know where they're likely going to try the big move for the lead. We've seen Colton HERTA be moving up simply by using that move over in turn number 4.
Yeah, it's the ideal place to make a pass here as they come across the line to complete race lap 35. So 3 laps to go. We'll see just how Santi Urrutia can continue to put the pressure on. As again, he may be just trying some different things to see what to do with Nico Jamin at the end of the long straightaway, and perhaps he can pull a surprise in these last 3 laps.
Well, we'll watch him now. We're We're about 3.5 car lengths there in the top of the keyhole turn. We'll see if he can catch a draft. He's back a little further this lap than he was last lap. He lost some ground there on that try at the top end of the straightaway, so he's going to have to follow around this lap.
Yeah, he's back about 2 car lengths, 3 car lengths as they make their way through 5. Jameen gets a much better run out of turn number 6. I tell you what, I think the tires on URRUTIA's car may be going south on him.
Colton HERTA about a second faster right now than Telitz on every lap, but he's still about 5 seconds back with just a couple of laps remaining, so he's not going to have enough time unless Telitz makes a mistake.
Coming through to complete race lap number 36, 2 to go now. We'll see the 1 lap to go sign next time by as Jameen and URRUTIA separated by 0.6 of a second at the stripe. White flag will be in the air next time by. Can URRUTIA make it a sweep of the weekend, or can Nico Jameen steal his 3rd race of the year?
2 car lengths at the exit of the keyhole turn as they work their way down the straight again. We'll see. It looks like he may be close enough. He's not really close enough for a good draft here at the middle of the kink. So he's going to have to follow around. He's going to have to do it on the last lap.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to cool off the tires and make that charge at the last lap. This time, Jameen, the back end of his car, steps out at the top of 5. So we'll see both of these guys fighting right down to the end.
Yep, that battle continues on. 2.5, 3 car lengths between 1st and 2nd. Nico Jameen taking the lead early. SANTI URRUTIA continues to follow in behind very smoothly as they work their way through the carousel.
The white flag is in the starter's hand as they come onto the front straightaway. Nico Jameen looking for win number 3 on the season. SANTI URRUTIA looking for his 2nd win of the season and 2nd of the weekend. Through turn number 1 they go on the way to the keyhole. Rusty Bell.
About 4 car lengths right now. We'll see. Typically URRUTIA can close it up just a little bit, but he missed the draft on the last 2 laps. He wasn't close enough to pick it up here at the middle of the straightaway, and I'm not sure. We'll take a look. He may have closed up 1 car length, and he's going to try to push it hard. He's a little bit closer, but I don't know that he's close enough to get much of a draft there, Brian.
He is about 3 car lengths back, 2 car lengths back, both of them very hard on the brakes, but URRUTIA is not close enough to Jameen. It's 2 car lengths. Jameen steps out just a little bit again out of the exit of 5, but he gets a great run out of 6. Here come the leaders, Tom.
Here come the leaders up over 8 through 9. Yeah, URRUTIA's just made a great run, but too little too late as they head up through 10 and see the checkered flag just a couple of turns away.
Here they come into the carousel turn for the final time. About a car length separates the 2 onto the front straightaway. Nico Jameen will take the checkered flag as he'll take his 3rd win of the season. SANTI URRUTIA gave it his best, but he'll have to be settled for 2nd spot. Official margin of victory right at half a second, 0.5026 seconds. 3rd place honors will go to Shelby Blackstock as he will finish in front of Zachary Clayman DeMello by 0.4 of a second. Aaron Telitz in the Soul Red number 9 comes to the line, a kind of a lonely 5th spot. Kyle Kaiser sees a lot of that lead evaporate, but he will maintain the points lead into the final 2 rounds at Gateway and Watkins Glen International.
I think the title of Mr. Mid-Ohio is a fair one after this weekend. 7 podium finishes, 6 wins. Impressive streak here at this racetrack. Why are you so good here?
I don't know, man. I just love it around here. I love the atmosphere. I love the track, the rhythm of the track, and how you never have time to rest around here. It's corner after corner after corner. Good job, man. Congratulations. I just love it here, and I know exactly how I want the car to be quick around here. And Yancy and I really nailed it today. The car was perfect, very consistent throughout the run. I was able to push a little bit more when Santi was putting a charge on me, and I think that was the key today.
Great battle with you and Santi. Just talk about racing with a guy like that.
You know, he's a great racer. He's very eager to win. I wanted the same thing today. I think we wanted it as much as each other. And you know, he was pushing extremely hard. Every time he was on I was trying to keep him out of the push-to-pass zone. He was able to get in at some point and put a big attack on me. I was able to defend. I think from that on I knew he didn't have any push to pass because on the straight line he wasn't coming back. So I knew I just had to, keep my head down, not make any mistake, and that's what we did.
Congratulations, Nico.
Thank you.